Uh-oh. It's not showing any video. Okay, my computer, everything was set to go. We're going to do some intuitive doodles on watercolor and with watercolor and pen and ink. This is going to be fun. I hope fast and easy. We'll see how it goes. But I want you to know this is for beginners. I am totally a noob when it comes to watercolor, and I want to show you that watercolor really isn't hard, and we can come up with fun things. Now, I did do this one so that we can doodle on it right away without having to run the blow dryer and dry the paper. But we're going to start off with a piece of 140-pound watercolor paper. I've used a little bit of washi tape and put it around the edge just in case I sort of get a little wide and splashy with things. I hope that you guys are all having a lovely day. I am using a water brush right here. It's just sort of, I don't know, it's probably a number 4 round-ish. It's their medium or large. It doesn't say. This is the Arteza water brush also, just because that's the one I had water in. I do have a little 12 pan of the premium Arteza watercolor in the pan set. This is great for doing little sketchy type watercolors. I don't really like the ones in the pans as much as the tubes, but this is so similar to all of the other watercolor that's out there. All the Prima watercolors, the Jane Davenport watercolors, the Arteza watercolors. I think they're all made in similar locations. So, you know, any watercolor would do. Crayola watercolors, watercolor pencils. You can take watercolor pencil, scribble it off on another piece of paper, get it really wet, and just use it like a palette to pick it up. I want to, and if the watercolor brush doesn't work, I do have a Mimic watercolor round that I can use also. So welcome, guys. I am taking the water brush and pretty much I'm going to put all of the water in for the flowers and leaves area here, and it's going to be just a big puddle of water on the paper. My brush may not be completely clean. That's okay, because a slightly dirty brush helps you see what I'm doing. And I'm just putting water down. By putting the water down, let's see if you can kind of see that. Yeah, sort of. By putting the water down and leaving the water as my hard edge. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. By putting the water down and leaving kind of a hard edge, when I go in and I'm just grabbing, some dark yellow, and I'm getting it wet with the brush and just filling my brush up. Look at that. I'm just tapping wherever it goes. I'm not really paying that close of attention. The colors are going to kind of mush together, but they're not going to go beyond the edge of that puddle. Maybe I want that puddle to go a little bit wider, so you can move it. You can adjust the edge if you want to. You don't have to. I don't want any straight lines, but being that this is a beginner piece of art, you can have whatever kind of lines you want. Now, I do like having a couple different colors in here, so I just picked up sort of a crimson red. I think that's what it's called, amaranth in this set. And I use the cadmium yellow light, which actually is a pretty color. And I'm just, you see, I haven't put any more paint on that brush. I'm just sort of tapping it around. I might put a couple little spots of it up in other areas. Kind of like that. I am going to use a piece of paper towel and wipe my brush out. Now remember, beginners are in their perfect place for this. You don't know what to expect, and when it's intuitive, I don't know what to expect either, you know? So let's get in here and just drop colors. Pardon me. I am going to grab a little bit of this kind of olive. It says it's fern green. I'm just grabbing some of that. And I'm looking at just at the little card here to get the names, what they call the colors. And I want to have it a little bit thinner. So I'm just dropping it on here. I don't care where if that my palette is a little bit dirty. This is kind of a murky green color anyway. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, everybody's welcome here. So I'm going to, you can see I've got a couple spaces in here that are light, that are kind of white. I'm going to make sure and land a little bit of that green right on some of those white spots because that will suck into the paper. And that's going to be some leaves. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put a few leaves here and there. I'll take another green on here. Remember, your colors are going to lighten up as they dry, so you will want to have more pigment on here than you think. Ooh, there we go. Get a little bit of that straight from the palette. And I don't care that this is bleeding into the flowers. It's okay. You let the tip of your brush be the shape of your leaves. You're not actually painting leaves. You're just putting the brush down and getting some shapes on. Now, I am going to wipe my brush off. And put the little watering can in. Now, the watering can, I am going to try and leave a little bit of an edge where I'm not touching the wet paint. This is a little bit more advanced, but not really that much, because if it all bleeds together, it doesn't matter. We're going to take a pen. I have a Zebra Sensations technical pen, and I have one of those eco pens with a super, super fine tip. So I've got a 0.1 and a, I'm not sure how fine this tip is, but it's like drawing with a little syringe or something. It's so tiny. But I want to get the can on here, and the easiest way to do that is to make kind of a gray color. My gray color is going to be the Prussian blue and the sepia brown mixed together. It's going to be a blue-gray. Right now it looks almost like a green, doesn't it? That sepia has a little bit of a yellow tint to it, which is nice because it gives us a nice natural color. Now I'm putting a sort of rectangular shape, and then just taking the brush and dragging down and letting it sort of be dry. People don't think you can do, more advanced stuff with these water brushes, but really you can. You can do anything with a water brush. The way to get it to be a dry look is to not press and squeeze the water out. Today is the day of Kathy. It is. I love it. Many days are the days of Stephanie. So I'm going to put the little spout on here. This is my dry one. So I have one that's dry that we're going to work on to do our pen doodling. But you see, I'm getting something fairly consistent. I'm going to make it into a watering can. You could just leave it like a pail or like just the can, just like this. But I want it to be a watering can. So I'm going to make a little rectangular shape coming up at an angle. And then I'm going to give it the rosette or the rose on the top, which is basically kind of just a little oval. Just like that. Not hard. And that's what I want you to see, is that this is not a hard project to do. You can do this. Then the handle is coming back here, and most of the handle is being covered by the flowers. the red blob and the leaves. So I'm going to have my handle come back like this, and it's just a quick little line. That's really all we have to do with that. Now, if you want to darken something up, go grab a little bit more of the Prussian blue or your darker blue color, and you can give it like a little shadowy bit down here at the bottom. And maybe drop a little bit of that darker up here so it feels like it's under the flowers. And then soften up that edge. Just go back with your brush, kind of soften that edge a little bit. I love doing this. I have been playing in my sketchbook with these little intuitive watercolors, and boy, they are so addicting. And so much fun to do the pen doodling on afterwards. Now, I see a space here where it's too separated, where my red and my leaves are separated. I'm going to take a bit of that red and maybe take a little bit of that gray into it. I'm just going to drop a little bit of that. The paper's still wet, the flowers are still wet, but I'm going to let it just bleed in. I didn't do that on the other one because I didn't have so much of a space on my dry one. But see, now we've got a bit of a shadow in underneath of there too. Oh, that's fun. That space right there under the leaves needs to be a little bit darker. And then we can set that aside. Maybe I'll just blobs, little things. You don't have to stress over this and make it harder. Don't make it harder. So we're going to set that one aside and let it dry. Just naturally. Now, these are not actually, this paper is not taped down to anything. I just taped around the edge, so if I put things in like, oh, maybe a little bit of that gray, I am going to put as the little shadowy table space right here. There we go. Just a little place for it to be sitting. I think it needs, that little place to sit needs to come up a little higher. Look at that. I'm not worried. Just have fun. Play and see how things are going to work out for you. All right. So now the watercolor is done. I can set that over out of the way. Now I want to move this sideways. Center up. Let's center this baby up here. And I'm going to wipe my brush off. Put the cap back on so I don't mess up the... Okay, putting the cap back on these things. Look at this. It's like boom, boom, boom. I keep separating all my little bristles. Just take a second, sort of line it up, tip the tip in, and then snap the cap on. Easy peasy. So this is the one that I did last night and let it dry. I want to wipe the tape off here. I just noticed a flash of light here, so we might have a little bit of a power surge or something going on. Don't know. So we'll see. Okay, so I had it all lined up the other way. There we go. Move it back, get it lined up. So doodling. This doodling is your basic beginner doodling. We are not actually using defined patterns. We're going to look at what's going on here. And you can go for the things that are easiest first if you want. Let's see, maybe I'll put my Let's see what the side camera does. Nah. I don't know that the side camera is going to be that much of a help for you. You know, it's always one of those things. We take a look, see how things go. All right. But I will put me back on because I want to talk. I want to see you guys. Well, I want you guys to see me. Oh, that's kind of weird. All right. So for the moment, I guess I will say hi, welcome. If you're new, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when new videos go up. I have all the information below on the materials and affiliate links that I will earn a little bit of money if you click and go do any shopping with those affiliate links. No pressure. You don't have to do it. It's just they're there to let you know, help you out. I do have a coloring book of floral designs, floral mandalas, that's available on Amazon. Lots of fun, pretty pages to color. And we're going to start our doodles. So, start with the easiest things first. What's the easiest thing? The easiest thing would be maybe going in and putting some little outliney bits on the watering can. Little outlines. You don't have to outline everything. You know, if you see really interesting little spaces that look fun, I kind of like that. I kind of like how that has that little edge of white there. Just looking at this going, ooh, I like, this is going to have a kind of country techno look to it, I think, because I'm sort of outlining odd little things. It's fun. Maybe I want to get these leaves, and I see kind of goes up and comes in, and maybe this one goes up and comes in. Sort of, kind of like, kind of. Oh my goodness. Very similar to like a geranium leaf, or I don't know, just fun little things. I like that. We're just outlining, doodling, putting little lines in. Have fun. And, you know, this is a really calm type of project. Let the watercolor dry, do its thing. Come back then, you know, in an hour or two. I mean, in an hour or two, this is going to look really cool. I like how I'm getting some of those. I like the little cauliflower and bloomy edges that you can get on things. This little harder edge that's showing up already. I like those things with the intuitive type drawings and doodles because it gives you places to trace, ideas on ways to make flowers. You're not really drawing anything. You're tracing around blobs of paint, but your brain sees it as something because our brains want to make patterns. So I want to make patterns out of this. All right. And thank you guys for so much for showing up, for being here, and for exploring your creativity because, you know, that's what this is really about, is helping you explore your creativity while I'm exploring mine. All right, so now I'm going to draw around that edge. The Zebra Technical Pen is waterproof. I could have drawn before and painted it in, but then it would look more color booky and it wouldn't be as free form because I would have been trying to color in a specific outline, where this is giving you the opportunity to make your own art. So now, just drawing around the shapes that I see. You know, I've learned a lot about this type of technique watching Creation Cece. She is in Canada, I believe in Quebec. And her channel, I mean, she's huge. She's amazingly a huge, amazing channel. But I did want to give her a shout out because that is where I've learned how to do a lot of this type of stuff. Just watching her relaxation type videos of putting down paint, letting it do its thing, learning how it moves, and then just drawing around the shapes you find. So if you love this kind of thing, let me know. I want to do more. I'm actually going to do a little bit more for sure coming this Friday. Looking at this going, I want to start, ooh, maybe I'll put these leaves in too. Of course, I grabbed one of my pens that I've done a lot of drawing with lately, and I can be a little bit hard on my pens. This tip is getting a little bit mushed. Don't worry if your lines go outside of where you draw. Just draw a little bit more of a line. Make it work. That almost reminds me of like a grape leaf with those ins and outs. But it's not, I'm not actually drawing the leaf. I'm tracing a shape. Oh, excellent. I'm glad that I've got folks that want to see more. That makes me happy. All right, so yes, that's green. It could be a leaf. I think I want it to be kind of a spiky type of leaf. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to give these little lobe type of leaf petals to it because that's what I see. And the cool thing, everybody sees different things in the art, in the paint. It's just like watching clouds. We all see different things. I'm putting some little center vein type lines. I want to be careful and not get too heavy with my lines. I want parts of this to really remain fresh and floaty flowers. These lovely cloud flowers. I guess that's what they are. They're lovely cloud flowers. If they turn into something that looks like a regular flower, that's cool. I think this one's the leaves, the little parts of the leaf, I see them coming down like this. Oh yeah, Bob Burridge and his watered down acrylics. Absolutely. Oh, and you could do this with watered down acrylic. You could do it on paper with watered down acrylic. Watered down gouache works also. Only thing with gouache is that if you're using one of these types of pens that's the tube with a little tip going through it, you can clog up your pens with gouache. So be careful, but have fun. Let's see. I see maybe another one of these fun little leaves. All right, I'm going to take me off the screen because you're just looking at the top of my head. And there's no point in that, right? Let's see here. Boom. All right. And maybe one more of those sort of spikes. Now, is anybody interested in me doing just like exploring patterns? We could do a day of just exploring patterns. So learning how to draw a pattern along a curved line. That's kind of a fun trick. So if you're interested in that, I'd really appreciate it if you would leave me a comment and let me know. Let's see, this one, I want to have some of these petals of leaves stacking up behind each other. So there we go. Watercolor marker pens work. Oh yeah, we could do this. Would you guys like the next one of these type of paintings to be with the watercolor marker pens? I would do that in a heartbeat if that's what you want to see. Because, you know, many of us have watercolor pens, and you could even do it with Crayola marker pens. The water-based Crayola pens. Absolutely. And a lot of us have those. So, okay, I've got some positive, yes, please do the, some pattern day. Now, I am looking at doing some tutorial type videos and tips and trick type videos that are going to be recorded, pre-recorded. And when I do those, there might be some speed up, there might be some, you know, cutting from one point to another point when I'm doing some tips and tricks videos. Those I want to try and keep in the 5 to 15 minute range and just get the information out there. But all of my live videos are going to be real time with a little more chat. I'm starting to get to where I want to do some of these flowers. And these flowers, again, intuitive. And what I mean by that is just use your first reaction. So my first reaction to this one was something kind of like the outline of the space. And I want to try using one of those eco pens now. Let's see, make sure and start it off. The eco pen, this has a cardboard tube that it's in. So the only thing that, because this part here can be recycled in just your regular paper recycling, and the only part you have to throw away is the actual tube where the ink is. So I think that's pretty cool. But I see this flower over here, and it's big. It's a big, big flower. Ooh, maybe I see a little bit of leaf right here, though, first. So this pen is a little bit blacker, thicker line. That's cool. That's cool. So I see an outlined space right there. Right here. Right here. Look at that. I am just seeing the lines in the watercolor. Some of it is hard for you to see. It's part of our personal view that we have. But wow, this looks like it's becoming kind of a peony. So maybe I'll stop right there. Give it a couple little lines like this. I don't want to do too much detail. There we go. That's kind of a peony flower. That's interesting to see something just sort of pop out that way. And I say I'm not going to touch it more. I need to not touch it anymore. Oh yes, any water-based marker. Thank you, Gina, for answering. Any water-based pen can be blurred out. The Arteza watercolor markers, real brush pens. They call them real brush pens. They don't call them watercolor, but they're water-based, non-toxic ink. You can move them all around. So which pens? Never ordered the blind markers. I'm not sure what the blind markers are. Interesting. Okay, so I want to get more flowers in here. And this can now be really quick. I think this is just sort of a random bundle of flowers. I'm going to go get my outline here. And then I think it's going to be sort of little, maybe they're, maybe they're lilacs stacked up on each other, sticking out. But I'm stacking in just some random little cloud shapes. See, easy, beginner. I'm not actually drawing the flower. I'm drawing around the little areas, the little shapes. Looks like popcorn. Maybe we'll have some little white ones coming off the edge. And then I'm just going to put some center dots in. Randomly. You're not going to see the center of every flower, are you? Some of them are going to be turned sideways from you. Some are facing you. Now I see another little petal that I want down here. I don't know what that's attached to, but it makes me happy to see it. Let's see. I think I do see kind of a ruffly edge. Maybe we'll make that into a tulip. Kind of like that. And maybe, I see a daisy over here. So I've got kind of a center. And then I see petal, petal, petal. I see a space. I'm going to leave that space. I like that. And then a petal. This is coming down farther. I'm just following that yellow. And now we've got a daisy. I see another daisy over here. And the one I see over here is actually kind of facing downward a little bit. So I'm just going to put that little line right there. I want my petals that are coming here. See, look at that. It's facing down. Maybe there's another little bit there. Ooh. Daisy type petals, easy to do. They're just your U shapes. And they can be long or they can be short. There we go. You can put a little bit of detail. Don't do too much. Don't do too much in them. If you do too much, they become very heavy. And they're not as fresh and feeling like they just sort of intuitively showed up. When I'm in my studio, what type of music do I listen to? I listen to indie folk. I listen to Celtic, Irish, Scottish folk type music. I listen to 70s soft rock. I listen to 40s big band. I'm pretty ecumenical when it comes to my music that I like to listen to. I'll listen to new age, that airy, flowy type of piano music. Just about anything. I'm not a fan of the heavy metal. I like to be able to hear the words, and I do listen to a lot of music that tells a story as it's going along. Even if it's instrumental, it tells a story. You you can make pictures in your mind. I think right here, I see something. I see a big open center. Like that. I see, oh, this is a big, big flower. So what kind of a petal? I see I'm going to do a little bit of a dotted outline to give myself an idea of my boundary that I'm looking at. Ooh. This is a ginormous flower, and I'm not sure that it's a flower that's ever been made anywhere. I think it's going to have a lot of little petals. So I'm making, maybe it's a giant dahlia. That's what it is. It's probably a giant dahlia. So you see how I got my kind of outline. And now I'm just filling it in with lots of little petals, because I decided I didn't want something that had that ginormous of petals. I'm being soft with my pen. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. I'm allowing it to be a little wiggly, a little wobbly. This is the perfect type of art for people who feel like they really don't have as much control with their hands as they would like to have. You don't have to. It's better if you can give it some wobble to the line, some character in your line. Also, by using this pen, I've given the weight of the line a change from the leaves. You see how the leaves are this really soft and light, fine pen line, and then I've got these heavier lines around my flower blossoms right now. You can change up your lines. You can add more lines. You really can't take lines away, but you can modify them. I'm just really growing this guy out big. This is one of those champion dahlias, maybe. You know, those dinner plate dahlias. When we were first married, we had a neighbor we were living at my husband's grandparents' house. They had both passed away, and there was a neighbor that grew dahlias on their back patio of their yard and of their house, and he had some amazingly humongous dinner plate dahlias growing all around his patio. It was very spectacular. He also grew mums. So that was really neat because he had flowers growing all year long. There. Oh. And I think I want that lighter pen, the lighter weight of the pen, to come in here and put a few of those little center lines, not on all the spots, but on a few of them. Maybe some of these petals are actually tipping different directions. Let the painting tell you what it wants. You saw the genesis of this leaf, or this petal, these flowers. This flower. Boy, my words. Do you guys ever have days like that? Where your words are just, what am I doing? Where am I going with that? I think I'm going to put a couple more little petals. Not as visible. They're sort of falling away. Intuitive art. Letting that paint blob. So this is how the one that we painted in the show is coming out right now. See? Using the one that's dry to draw on, though, is really nice. because then you don't have the have to worry so much about making sure the paper is truly dry. Let's see. What did that stem? I think back here I want, what do I see? I see something else. I see another flower. This one, it actually reminds me kind of that cloud shape, but maybe I'll put it in with like little popcorns. I'm sort of doing this bump on the top and then a bump out to each side and then a bump in the front. Ooh, I like that. Little popcorn flowers. Could be hydrangea, could be lilacs. It's different than that one that's up here in the front. Don't know. See, and you can put some centers in some of those. Keeping it light, not worried about making it perfect. Going, ooh, I like how this is going. You ever make up your own flowers? This is the perfect type of project to do that. You learn new techniques, new ideas. This is a type of flower that I will probably try to remember. Look at that, how sweet. It's a great little filler. But a bump, bump. So top, side, side, and then the bottom kind of comes in a little bit. Top, side, side, bottom, and then a center. Got a little, there, had a little eyelash fall on there. But this way, I'm getting different line weight. I'm getting different effects. But I'm following the shape of my spaces. Now, some of these spaces are a lot lighter. Some are darker. But it gives us a variation. Oh, that's looking so pretty. Yeah, you know, tripping over my words, I don't know if it's something with, with age. I don't remember tripping quite so badly. But, things happen as we get older. Let's see. What do I see over here? I actually see another flower that's kind of those daisy petals again. That's sort of sideways. Maybe the center is right here. There's leaves coming down in front of them. It's sort of tucking in behind this one here. I'm using that finer pen still. I didn't change. I think this one's going to have a darker center. Just because. It makes me happy to do that. Or maybe that's two flowers stacked up on top of each other. Maybe there's another center back here. Or the back of the flower. You can put in some little shadowy bits. Give it a little more weight without it being too heavy. I don't want to do too much of that because I don't want to lose all the pretty color. But you can do that. I'm going to put some more petals that are kind of going behind. Just lines, actually. It's not even really petals. I like working on this watercolor paper. I actually did this on the textured side, not the smooth side. So this is 140-pound watercolor paper. You see it warped a little bit. I didn't tape it down to anything, but that's okay. I'm going to color a little bit under that leaf and maybe in that space. Just sort of lifting that leaf off of the flower just a little bit. But it's not, I'm not doing realistic shadows, you know? You've got all kinds of, I think I want another petal of that coming down. I was looking at that going, what are we doing right here? I think we're doing that. Doesn't have to be realistic, doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. I am enjoying this intuitive painting, this intuitive style. We can do so many cool things. Ooh. I see something coming like this. Just look at it and go, what do you see? Okay, so right now I see some spiky petals. Yep, get out those watercolors. Throw some watercolor down on the paper. And don't worry about making it look like anything when you first put it down. Let the water sort of flow the color around. You know, if you get a really huge puddle, let it flow around. So I'm even going out into that white. I'm not worried about not having any color there. I think that's kind of fun. It's giving us sort of a feel of maybe there's a lot of super high highlight right there. You know, I can't have a traceable for this one because this is, you know, free form. Let it just move around and see what you've got. Yeah, I'm very sorry for your loss, Darcy, and I'm so glad that you've been able to find creativity to be a way to help you with your grief. It's a blessing to be able to have something that allows you to have a product at the end of it, even if it's not perfectly what you were going for, because, well, we didn't know what we were going for here, except for the watering can. That's the only thing I knew I was going for. But for people going through grief, for going through anxiety, you know, people with different types of difficulties with concentration, you know, this is a really rough time right now for a lot of people. So being able, I know for myself that having something that I can say at the end, oh, I did something. I didn't just sit and stare into the corner for an hour. I traced around watercolor blobs and made something turn out. And even if it doesn't turn out, it's a piece of paper, but you did something. And that, I think, is, you know, one of the huge benefits of doing art like this, where I didn't know what this arrangement was going to look like. I didn't know I was going to come out with something that was going to look so pretty. I'm changing back to the heavier pen, the slightly thicker, blacker ink. I want to put some more little leaf shapes in here, or petal shapes, but they're not really attached to anything. I'm just filling in a space. Fill in spaces now. If you see a space that needs to be filled in, just put something there. And you're the one who controls everything here. That's the other thing about the intuitive art. No one can tell you that you didn't do it right. No one can tell you you didn't do it right. You have full control here. Like, I want to put another petal there. I want one here. And then a little bit of a shadow. Your art, your page, you're in the control seat here. Don't let anyone else take that away from you. Ooh. Okay, I want the lighter pen again. The love is, oh my goodness gracious. Yes. The love is couple. Those cute little people with the really big heads and the they had a kind of an innocence to them, even though they were totally, like, you know, not very clothed. I want another flower going off right here. And I'm going right off the tape also. I don't care. I have been drawing since I could hold a crayon. I think my parents still have a painting I did when I was 6 hanging on the wall in their bedroom. And it was of some flowers. And now this is back like 1970. And this art teacher, she was totally awesome. And she taught a group of first graders how to take any brush and lay it down in the paint, and then lay it down in the paint again, and then one more time, and how to make basically one-stroke flowers with, you know, tempera paint and big, huge paint brushes. It was so cool. And that gave me a serious love. My father is also an artist, and so I had the opportunity to always try things and not feel like I was going to mess up, because I was told, you're not going to mess up. The only time you mess up is if you don't try, because then you've messed up your creativity opportunity, that creative opportunity, by not trying something. That's the only time you really mess up. You know, your painting doesn't have to look the way you expect it to look. Your drawing doesn't have to look the way you expect it to look. That's not really messing up. Messing up is not taking an opportunity to try something new, like changing my pen right now and going in and putting a few of these lines in my popcorn flowers, make a few of them a little bit darker, maybe put a couple little shadow spots in. But you know, really, we're going to pull that tape off of there. Whoops, I'm going to sign it. There we go. Signing it with my little, I think I'll even put 2020. Right like that. Now we're going to pull that tape off. You can go in. Yes, actually these pens are both waterproof. So I could go in and add more color if I wish to. I would always let these dry, you know, for a couple hours, just to make sure that everything is completely dry. Oh, and now I say that, I see, you know, maybe I want to put a little bit of a shadow with my pen underneath of here. Maybe go here. This is a mechanical thing. The can is a hard object, so we can have some hard straight lines on it. Maybe I want a little bit more of a shadow underneath of those leaves. And right here underneath the edge of those flowers. But see, I'm just doing, pretty much doing straight lines. And not worried about really what's going on there. By putting these lines on, I just made it look a little bit harder.
What kind of art did you do?
What kind of art did my dad do? My dad is he's kind of a Renaissance man. He has done, now when I was a kid, what he did, he was a draftsman. He did mechanical illustrating, medical illustrating. Actually, I want to soften this tape. It's been sitting on here overnight. So my dad was but then he also did life drawing and nature art. He welding. He's a welder. Does the welded sculptures. I'm only heating up the tape here so that it will come off a little easier. Breaking the adhesive. There we go. He also was a metalsmith and jewelry smith, a scrimshaw artist. Oh my gosh. He still does wood carving. Ah, look at that. Isn't it pretty? So use your intuition. Use the unexpected way your colors are going to mix with each other to make something really pretty, or make something that just makes you happy. I am so excited. We'll go wide now. Look at that. And I am going to doodle on this one too. And maybe I'll put that on my website and on my Instagram also. If you guys like this type of art, make sure that you are liking this video. I see 36 people are here and 14 likes. You don't have to like the video if you don't want to, but if you want to like this video and help YouTube see that people like you like this art, click that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to find out when I do new videos. Make sure that you've turned on all your notifications on the YouTube app and on YouTube right here. And I want to see your art, so make sure that you are sharing it. You can share your art by tagging me at Deliberately Creative on all the social medias. Instagram, it's all at Deliberately Creative. Pinterest is a good place to share your art. You can also share my art that I do, my videos. You can share it on your Pinterest. It helps. Everything helps. Thank you guys. Remember to do something creative today. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I hope to see you back here really soon. Friday, we're going to be doing some more doodling and watercolor. And there we go.